Today we'll be opening up a Power of the Force Deluxe Boba Fett.
Hit it, hit it, hit it. Get it going. Two mothers went to the park. It was kinda dark. In the daytime, Carl and Ryan in the daytime. Carl and Ryan in the daytime. Carl and Ryan, dope niggas, come by them and the bust you in the hip.
Go ahead, pop that.
Come
head.
on, you.
Come on, pop it.
Oh!
All right, here we go. It has been a long season, my friends. Season 6 is now almost officially in the bag. We've had lots of fun. We've given away lots of things. We did give away
some stuff this year.
We gave away a very rare Power of the Force Princess Leia. Carded Princess Leia, which had the photoreal technology, which was awesome.
It's sad that I bought it for $100 20 years ago and I just gave it away.
You just gave it away.
Because it has no value.
Yeah, and we gave away a Boba Fett
diecast,
which was pretty sweet. So we're back, and we brought.
Did we get renewed for season 7? I don't know. I haven't heard anything yet.
We have not heard from Kathleen Kennedy.
No, I don't think we're going to.
I don't know. But I guess we'll see what
happens. Maybe
happens.
we've been canceled and don't even know yet.
That happens sometimes. But we thought we'd come back and do another sweet finale.
Yeah.
With our friends.
Yes.
With our friend Jonnothan and his friend Jay, who went to Tunisia, and they saw some goodies from Indiana Jones. So we kind of teased this in the last show.
We did. And
in addition to that, we're going to talk about Death Valley.
Yes.
And apparently there in Death Valley, there was a bunch of Star Wars stuff filmed there. And there's lots of hookers, too.
That's what I was told. I mean, I'm not sure how they go together, but at least we know it's there.
Yeah, and we're going to find out on this show. So it should be sweet. And the wives are here.
They're all upstairs.
They've put us on notice.
They're congregating upstairs.
That's
so
right.
we're a limited time.
We're a limited time here. So we're going to get started. We're going to kick into we got lots of pictures, lots of goodies to show.
Yeah, we're going to get a little more comfortable, though. We're going to go to the couch today.
We're going to go to the couch. And you've turned on the air conditioning, so it feels very comfortable.
The air conditioning is on.
It is on. And I've changed a lot during this season.
Yeah, you've had beards, no beards, hair, no
my
hair.
My hair is out of control now, so I'm wearing my Fidel Castro hat.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
You don't like it?
Do you like my shirt?
I do like that shirt. She's been canceled, by the way.
No, she has not been canceled. No one cancels Dolly Parton.
We'll see. All right. Well, I've almost been canceled.
That country's about to get canceled.
That's right. So, anyway, all right, let's get started into the show. All right, so we're back. We're in our exclusive studio here.
Yeah, some nice fake leather couches.
Yes.
Yeah, a wood table that my dad made back in the 70s. There we go.
Very nice. How does this feel?
It's the finest Corinthian leather.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Big Lot special.
It is. It's so comfortable. I took my shoes off.
I do nap in here, though.
Do you?
When I work late, because then the lights go off and it's pitch black in here.
Nice.
Got the projector, watch a movie, and fall asleep.
That's very nice. Do you keep a bottle of Vaseline down here?
It's in the fridge.
Sweet. Awesome. Got to keep it cold.
All right. Room temperature is so much better.
Is it? It's true.
It's
true.
I mean, you do you. Whatever you want. But
there's nothing like my mom's Vaseline. You know what I'm saying?
My mom was always mad. She never could find it. All right, let's go.
We'll do that on another show. We'll talk about the Vaseline.
Very special episode.
It is. It's a special edition version.
So school episode.
So we're going to talk about Indiana Jones.
So this is a little off because it's not Star Wars.
It's not Star Wars and it's not NECA, but it is pretty sweet.
Star Wars adjacent.
Yes, it is.
It is Lucasfilm. It's Lucasfilm.
It is Lucasfilm. So this is mainly just Raiders that we're going to be talking about, right? Yep. And so actually, before we talk about maybe the Tannis stuff, we had in the beginning of our video
a special opening.
A special opening, which was actually part of the special edition VHS Star Wars.
Correct. It was
but
cut.
then, for some reason, that was cut.
Yes.
And
we had
Wicked's
rare
items were put in
rare
instead.
footage of Obi-Wan falling.
Yes. Yeah. So we wanted to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alec Guinness had a few too many pints that day, and he wasn't bringing his A game.
No.
And he just had some trouble with the robe. It fell in front of his eyes. He hit a boulder. It was very embarrassing for everybody. So it didn't even make it on the outtakes reel. They put that in the holiday special. They just file that away, lock it, nobody gets it.
And we got exclusive footage of that.
We did. So check that out again because that was real. That was live. That was actually happening.
You know, it is good to see that even in foreign countries, grown men can act like children.
That's right. That's right.
So that's the good thing about it.
You never feel out of place.
No, absolutely.
Star
not.
Wars fans everywhere.
Absolutely not.
So let's start with Indiana Jones and Raiders and kind of where you went, because we're going to be showing a lot of pictures, and what's sweet about these pictures, you guys like went through meticulous detail in recreating these scenes, which was pretty awesome.
I love watching like videos like that where people go to like certain areas and they do the side by sides.
Yes.
So you can see what it looked like and now what it looks like. It kind of puts everything in perspective, which is really cool.
Right, and we're talking what, 45 years now, something like that.
Yeah.
Since
Something like
81?
that.
Oh, not 45.
45.
Maybe
How
40.
old are you?
Gosh, you're right. That was after I was born.
No, it's 40 years.
40 years.
Long enough.
Long enough. We'll
Long
just put it that way.
Yeah.
And so, but a lot of the stuff, like the one picture with the door,
Yeah.
you're like outside of the door, the whole little peephole is still there.
Yeah. It's actually kind of incredible how
Yeah.
much it's all there. And I mean, when we later on we'll talk about the city of Carawan, where they filmed the whole chase scene in Raiders, where Marion's in the basket and they're chasing her around and everything. It's all just filmed in this Medina in the center of the city.
Uh-huh.
And all of the shots, like you can line up the shots just by looking at the windows and the shutters and the different things on the buildings, because it's all still there.
Which is crazy.
And in one case, the shot where the guy comes up with a knife and Marion runs away from him. If you look closely in the film, on the right-hand side, you'll see a little shop that's selling plates. That shop is still there. So when you take a photo there, you're getting those plates in that shop.
They're still selling plates?
They're
I
still
bought one.
selling
It's in my
plates.
kitchen.
Did you really?
Yeah.
See, how crazy is that though? Because that's the thing, like in certain areas, like obviously things don't change very often.
Yeah.
Like if it was filmed here in a
There'd
city,
be a
most of
McDonald's there.
the time those places have changed. You got to find like a street pole to figure out where you are.
Yeah.
But that in those, it's like untouched.
And some things change and some things don't. So when they filmed kind of all the digging in Cairo, which is actually in Tunisia, and at Tanis, where they look for the Well of the Souls and the map room, and they had the big German plane and the fighting with the bald dude and all of that jazz. So that, it's on the one hand it's changed a lot, because then when you look at the film, it's all desert,
Gotcha.
right? Very, very desolate looking. And when we went to find it, surprise, surprise, it's a date farm.
Yeah, it's being leveled, it's being graded and irrigated, and yeah, it's a date farm.
So there's
Really?
trees and
Yeah.
plant life and everything. So that part's changed dramatically. But the amazing thing to me is you can still see the indentation
Yeah.
in the side of the hill where they carved out the entrance to the map room.
the map
Where
room.
he kind of
Yeah.
drops in, and
Yeah.
obviously when he drops in, it's on the soundstage.
Right.
But they kind of built it all out. The freaking indentation
Still
is still
there.
there. It's been in the desert for 40 years with rain and weather and everything.
Still there.
It's still there.
And you can still find pieces of plaster and styrofoam
Yeah.
that made the stones, right, the carved stones
Yeah.
to the entrance. And one of the really interesting things about that Tanis site, maybe we'll talk about that first,
It's just like
is
leftover plaster from
yeah, that's a piece of the set. It's a piece of the film.
Zoom in on that.
Yeah. Now, what I learned when we talked about this a little bit last time, I just kind of talked about Lucasfilm just leaving everything in the desert, not being good stewards.
Right.
But apparently, I've learned in the meantime, they
crazy.
paid a Tunisian company to clean up after the fact, and it just never happened.
Never happened. They just took
Yeah.
the money and said no, don't worry about
So, we got some cool stuff out of it.
So let me ask you a question. That to me looks like a rock, but that's actually
No, it's
plaster.
It's plaster. Yeah, like
Yeah, you
you
can-
could break
break
this
it.
very
Okay.
easily. It's a lot lighter than a rock would be. And
Okay.
you can see the wire markings on the
Yeah.
back where they had it attached to the
Attached to it.
structure.
Mhm.
it. Wow.
And there's a lot of that rubble lying around. And there's actually one stretch that we found where it's a flat stretch, maybe 20-25 feet long, of just like the fake foundation, the fake boulders.
Uh-huh.
In fact, yeah, we've got a
Where-
photograph of that.
Yeah, where they had like they're running the mine tracks with all the stuff that they're
Yeah.
clearing out of the digging
railroad,
and everything.
yeah.
And it's just kind of this big flat plateau area that's just hanging out there.
And they built everything on top of that. And, you can, I think I sent a photograph of Jay, of you actually sitting on that. And when you're there in that filming location, which incidentally is right next to Star Wars Canyon, where they filmed all of the canyon scenes with Luke and Obi-Wan and the Tusken Raiders and everything, aside from what they did in Death Valley. You could literally walk from one to the other if you wanted to. We didn't do that, but you could. And when you
probably
go,
all the gunfire that we decided not to do that.
we did hear a little bit of gunfire at one
Oh.
point. Yeah.
It's a little unnerving when you're standing on top of a
A
plateau,
ridge.
completely
Yes.
exposed.
We were standing up there.
And you hear the automatic sound of automatic rifle, and you're like, okay, I guess they're doing drills.
So, but when you're
Let's
when
go
you're
down.
Yes.
and that ridge he was talking about, do you remember in Raiders where Indy, they've been to the map room and he uses the transit tool, and he looks through the tool and he sees the map room entrance and he swings it, and then he sees that toppled
Yes.
obelisk.
Yes.
And then he swings it further and you see the Well of the Souls.
Mhm.
When you're standing on that ridge, that's exactly where those pieces were.
Oh,
And
really?
you can see the map room. The obelisk is gone, and it's been graded. When I was there in 2014, you could still see, the mound where it had been. But then you swing over here and you see the Well of the Souls right over there.
We actually triangulated it. So we started on the ridge. Well, obviously the Well of Souls is the easiest thing to find, but we started on the ridge, found out where it was, then we walked over there and stood up there, and it's like, yep, lines up directly near the Well of Souls.
It's amazing.
It's kind
It
of
was
crazy.
pretty crazy.
That is kind of crazy.
So, how did you find these particular sites?
Tanis, I can probably speak better to that. When I had gone in 2014, I had just happened across something on the internet, because that was the trip where we did it all ourselves. We didn't have
You
a
took a
drive
paper
or anything
map,
like
right?
that. Yeah, basically, yeah, exactly. My dad had given us, and go figure.
Insane.
And I happened across something on the internet, and it was a Google Earth shot, and it had these arrows, and it had an arrow and it said map room, and then Well of the Souls, and then Star Wars Canyon. And so that kind of led me to figure out how close they were to one another. And if you know where to look on Google Earth right now, that indentation that he was talking about, you can see it right now.
How big is that?
Say about what, 6 to
Probably.
8 foot diameter?
Yeah, and it's sort of crater-like now, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think I sent a photo of that you can include along with the Staff of the Ra headpiece.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
that we took
you
over
have a
there.
neat story on
It's
that.
kind of
Jay took
ironic that
over
it's a date farm
Yes.
on top of everything else.
You
Right.
eat them.
And are they
Right. It's kind of-
poisoned?
it's kind of-
Are they poisoned dates?
I don't know.
Not that we're aware of.
But it's pretty
No,
funny
no.
that it's turned into a date farm.
Yeah.
I did eat a lot of dates when I was there, but not
Do you,
that bad.
do you like dates?
I like dates. I like eat-me dates.
Well, you came to like them.
You ever
there,
have an
right?
eat-me date?
No, I've never had an eat-me date.
Eat-me
I
dates
hadn't
are
had
the
one
best.
until I was over there. You
It's a
like
specialized brand.
There you go. I think you guys were talking about something different than what I was talking about. I was literally talking
That's
about
like
dates.
tossed salads, right?
Now I know where we
Okay,
are.
all right.
That's a whole different thing.
Okay.
I know where we are in the podcast. Yeah. That piece, was that 2014?
That was from your trip, yeah.
Okay, so that piece right there.
That was from your trip. We
You
have a
know
couple other
when
ones.
they push the block out, right,
Uh-huh.
and they see the flying wing, that was from that spot. So that's
When they're coming out of it.
yeah, when they're coming out of it. So that's
So that's a
from
piece.
that
That could
spot.
be a piece of that for all you know.
Now,
it could be.
Can you get that stuff like graded or anything?
No, I mean, it's worthless, really.
It's
Unless-
just memorabilia.
It's just
The value you
it's
assign
worth
to
it to
it.
me
It's
because I
worth-
think it's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
But to anybody else, I mean, it's a piece of plaster.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's-
Well, I
yeah.
can tell you this: the sand that we did a giveaway on that sand.
Yeah. Oh, I gave him some
People
sand.
were losing their mind. Like,
Really?
oh yeah,
They love that
we had
sand.
we had like
Oh, I've
tons
got-
of people
Yeah.
that were in on that raffle.
Yes.
Yeah, I only made $300 off of it though.
I should have. Well, there you go.
No, it was a give. It was a
sand is
giveaway.
interesting. So even in all the different places that I've gone, and I'm a scuba diver as well, so I'm a big kind of ocean fan.
Uh-huh.
And every time we go somewhere, we'll take a little jar of sand. So like these, right? So this is from that's from the map room. You can see it's kind of pretty granular with some
Yeah.
big chunks of pieces of plaster and stuff that fell off of the sets and stuff back in the day.
And when you say, so I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking the map room, so I'm thinking, when he's inside
Yeah.
with the Staff of Ra, right?
Yeah.
But
That's the soundstage.
That's the sound
yeah,
stage.
that's
okay, so
one
this
that-
is
Literally
like
all this is a big hole in the side of a hill.
Okay,
Kind of like they did with the Lars Homestead,
Yeah.
where they
Yeah.
made it look like you're looking down into a hole, but it's really
Right.
not a hole.
But
Exactly.
I mean, I will say the sand that you had brought that we gave away, because we gave away one, we still have the other
We have
one.
one more.
But I mean, it's cool. It's a tangible thing
Right,
from
yeah.
that true location.
And the sand from that you have from the homestead is different from that,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
different from the sand from the Sahara Desert, which
Right.
is
Yeah.
On the dunes.
unbelievably fine.
Yeah, I mean,
to
this
the
is
point where
gritty.
you can't even feel the grain.
Oh, really?
And then that's different from the sand on the Mediterranean, from the place that we stayed there. It's really interesting
All
how
the different versions.
varied
Yeah.
something as simple as sand because it gets everywhere.
So where is this from?
That is from the. So one of those is from the map room, and that is from the. So this is what happens when you get old, guys. You can't read small stuff anymore, and I can't read small stuff anymore. It says in the bottom.
Let's see here.
Oh, that's from Star Wars Canyon, Raiders Rock.
Yeah, Raiders Rock. Yeah,
Where basically has the I'm gonna blow up
I'm
the
gonna
ark,
blow up the-
Renee.
Gotcha.
And if you look really closely in that scene, there were so many flies, and one of them goes
Yes,
right
right
into
in his
freaking
mouth.
Belloq's mouth. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I watched it when we saw it with you. When we got invited
Yeah.
to go see a special screening of Raiders,
Yeah.
which was awesome. And I've never noticed it because I don't normally watch it on the big screen.
Yeah.
There was flies all over all of them. Like throughout the movie, random scenes just fly.
You will find
fly.
that in Star Wars Canyon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll find flies there. You definitely will.
What are they going? Where? There's nowhere to go. I mean, what's out there?
Yeah, I don't know.
How do flies
I
get
mean,
out there?
I don't know.
You would be surprised when we went, because everywhere I travel it rains, and so they had just had a bout of like a week of rain. So we're in Star Wars Canyon, right? The Jundland wastes of Tatooine. There's flowers. There's
Really?
Oh yeah, there's a
Okay.
lot of greenery there.
Okay,
a
well,
lot of
that's-
greenery.
You
It's
just-
hard to
yeah.
recreate those authentic Star Wars scenes
Yeah.
when you got freaking flower
Grass.
shows and
Right,
stuff. And
right. That's right.
You can only Photoshop so much. But the map room, you were asking about the diameter of it. There's a picture that we took of one another, and I think you'll see the one of Jay where you're right in front of that. And if you look, I think you've got the Staff of Ra, and you can see some of the debris, right, that was left behind by the production company. And that one's a hard one to match up. Like a lot of the Star Wars sites, you instantly see it.
Yeah.
But with that tense, you had to really, if you look at the palm trees, there's a set of three, and then there's a set of three. But really telling, in the upper right corner of the frame, you can see these white buildings. And those are the Marabouts that are the entrance to Star Wars Canyon.
Got the ones you
And
talked
you
about
can
last
see
time,
those
yeah.
in the Raiders film, and you can see them,
Gotcha.
in our
So you
photos
rely
as well.
really on the footage to find
Yeah.
out where you were.
And it's so exciting when you match it up. And
Yeah.
the Tannis stuff was really, really neat to know that you're standing on top of the Well of Souls, and you can see this is where the flying wing was, the concrete. There was some concrete over the side.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I think a lot of that from the production was taken by locals to use for other things, maybe to crush it up or something like that. But it's a really neat site. The sad thing about Tannis is that it is not going to be much longer before it's unrecognizable.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to start laughing, but for reasons unknown, what popped into my head? Do you remember the last thing we saw as we were leaving Tannis? And this is like Tunisia in a nutshell. The last thing we saw, we were in the Jeep on our way out. We look out the window.
Yeah, what did we see?
We saw a dog eating the ass out of a goat.
That's right. That's right.
Like just a random stray dog eating the ass of a dead goat.
we
like
stopped.
literally
Are you
ripping
kidding? We
his
stopped the car.
ass out. We stopped the car. I took a picture of it.
Do you have that
the drivers
We're gonna have to have that picture.
The driver was like, "It's just a dog eating the ass of a goat."
You're like, oh, well, I guess that's normal
It's
here.
delicious. Where are we? Like, yeah, 5 minutes prior, we're on a ridge, like looking at all this cool Raider stuff and hearing automatic gunfire, and now we're looking at a dog eating the ass out of a goat.
That sounds like a perfect trip.
It is the weirdest place. It is such a weird place.
Was the dog, was it enjoying it?
I think he was. I think he was getting into it.
I don't think the goat was too happy.
No, the goat,
Was
the
the
goat
goat,
was,
the goat was dead?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the goat was dead.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Dead goat.
Good night.
That
Was
goat.
it a hyena? Was it an actual
No,
dog?
it was just a wild dog.
And
Eat an ass out of a goat.
you leave that site, and within 5, 6
Literally,
minutes,
it's like 2 turns.
yeah,
You just go out there and you're like, whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
And
There's
you-
Star
and
Wars.
there's Star Wars.
And you're at Star Wars.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Well, from asses to the Staff of Ra. So a question: does this have the writing on both sides? Right.
It does.
It does.
That one, that replica has writing on both sides.
So
Can I take a look at that?
yeah. So tell them what happened. So you're packing World War I bombshells, munitions,
From a battlefield trip that I took in 2000, carry on a plane, and they're like, "Yep,
good to go.
good to go."
And you can't bring that on the plane.
You can't bring like replica
You
piece
get a
of metal.
lot of unwanted attention. So my luck with traveling is not the best, right? I have been in Tunisia and it has rained and been green. I've been in Death Valley in sandstorms and raining. So knowing this, I packed as much as I could into my carry-on.
Uh-huh.
And I figured I would never get this opportunity again. And I am a pretty big Raiders fan. So I'm like, all right, I'm packing my entire Raiders get up because I was like, you know
yeah,
what?
the hat,
If I'm going to
everything.
do this, the hat, the shoes,
Full
the belt,
regalia.
the whole regalia, the whip, all of that.
Yep.
And I shoved it all in my carry-on along with this guy. And
I
same
thought-
thing, like I just wrapped it up in this, shoved it in there. And so, and my hat as well, like, everything shoved in there. So you go through the metal detectors, right? Obviously that looked weird as hell. So, and it's weird, like nobody in France seemed to care, but when we got to
Well,
Tunisia,
that's
such a
because
tomb
how
raiding.
do they film their museums? They're fine
yeah,
with it.
yeah, they're just like, yeah, give me that. We'll put it in the Louvre or whatever. But we got to Tunisia, and they're like ripping all my stuff apart, and he's like, it was just surreal, right? He's taking out a hat, he's taking out a whip.
Probably like, what is this
Get
guy
this.
doing?
And then they're like, "Are you
What
with
is
him?"
this?
And I'm like, "I have no idea."
And
He's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "It's fake. It's a
Prop.
fake. It's a prop movie, Mickey Mouse." You know.
Was this after he pulled out your leather dress?
And the whip.
the whip comes out first. He's like, what is
Well,
this?
luckily, I did not have to take the leather jacket because in that scene he wasn't wearing it. So
Gotcha.
and most of the outfit just looks like normal clothes, right? It's just
Yeah.
tan pants.
Yeah.
Thing. Like there is specific variety, but like it's normal.
Panama jacket,
Yeah.
walking into the desert.
Yeah.
Which I'll tell a story in a little while, but yeah, you continue on with that one.
So, anyways, yeah, be careful if you're taking movie replicas on international flights.
He was looking at that and being like, cha-ching.
Yeah,
He wanted
probably.
To,
Yeah.
He was thinking it was worth something.
It's like, I'll let you carry it on if you give me $500.
So what happened? He just eventually gave
He
it?
eventually gave up. Yeah,
He did.
it took a good 10 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain. I'm like, I'm pulling the
Meanwhile, I'm
pulling the
sitting,
book out, that we had for reference. I'm like, look, no, see, it's a movie. It's a movie. Right here.
and I'm like, I'm like
movie.
50 feet away in a chair drinking a Diet Pepsi. I'm like, this isn't gonna do. I'm getting on that plane.
What did you carry? You had your luggage. You were happy.
I did. I was fine. Yeah. So that was Tanis, and so if you do end up going to Tunisia and you go to Star Wars Canyon, that Tanis site is very close by. So it's a really neat thing to be able to see. But I think honestly, what was more interesting to me was where they filmed the scenes for Cairo, right in the Tunisian city of Kairouan, because as much as Tanis had changed, Kairouan had not.
And how far is one to the other?
Pretty far.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. So it's not close.
No, it's a good couple hours.
Okay.
But if you were driving as we did, so we were leaving Tazur and Nefta, which is, so in that one location you've got all those Star Wars sites, and you've got Raiders Canyon, and then you drive back to Tunis, presumably to fly out of the country. You can go through Kairouan, so it can be on the way.
Gotcha. It can be part of the trip.
It can be part of the trip.
Basically from here up this way. It's a couple hours.
And
But
so
that's where all the main, those scenes, when you see those scenes, you know exactly where you're at. So like when you're in the city walking around, you're like, there's the spot.
Well,
But-
it's a specific part in the city.
yeah,
So
so
the city itself is very big.
Yeah.
Oh, it is a
And
big city.
Very big city.
Okay.
Very, very big city. And I want to say, is it the third most? Second.
There's a mosque there.
The second, yeah, the mosque there is the second
holiest
holiest, and yeah.
for
So
Muslims.
it's a very big
Gotcha.
city. And where they filmed all this is in a part of the city called the Medina, which is like the shopping market.
an ancient walled part of the city, which is
Kind of
the
in the
market.
center, and you can, and it's still like a market, right? Just
Yeah.
with more modern stuff.
But
And
because
they-
it's ancient, it's maze-like. I mean, there's no real
Because they just built it
layout.
like they didn't when they were building. I'm sure it was building section by section type thing. There was no master plan when they were building it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
kind of
really
like
a
Charlotte,
problem.
really.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, and that became kind of a big, for me, that was a really fun Easter egg hunt to try and figure out where this stuff is. Because we're fortunate now, we have Google Maps.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
And you can go online and you can start researching this stuff. And I decided I would treat it just like, in Indiana Jones research. So I actually went and got this
Look at this.
Sweet
this
leather brown
journal,
book.
sweet leather journal, to kind of write down all of my stuff here, and just kind of as we went through,
Wow, that is-
different
Wow, that is
places.
insane.
Show them.
That's like straight out of Tomb Raider.
It's
right
like,
there.
it's like the Grail Diary.
That is literally Sean Connery's diary.
I'm still working there,
Wow.
working on it. But
That is impressive.
yeah, if you go far
You
enough,
drew
you'll
those
see.
pictures too?
He's quite the
He's
artist.
creating the Sean Connery journal.
Yeah, there's a map of
Wow.
Mos Espa. That's the set Mos Espa where you see all the
You
different
can't
things.
let Hitler get that.
Don't
No.
let Hitler get that. There's a map of
He'll sign it.
Tunisia.
And hand it back.
That is I have to say I am impressed with this.
It's Here's the
Is it really?
Star Wars Hotel, the City
City Driss.
Driss.
Yeah.
and the different places. And for me, it's fun. I enjoy it. I like kind of drawing and sketching and just having fun with it. And I would kind of rate each of the sites that we went through. And
Wow.
That is impressive.
I discovered early on that it wasn't going to be possible to do that 100% live while we were there.
Right.
Just because everything's moving around. And so I would just take notes offhand and then stick the notes in there, and then I would scribe them kind of after the fact.
That's pretty
But
cool.
with Karawan, what we did is we took Google Earth photographs, right, and we printed them out.
And I should say that our guides that we went with, they knew Karawan very well. In fact, one of them had lived there, but they had no idea Raiders was filmed there.
So I guess my question, so when you're in this city,
That
is
is
there
crazy.
any like stores
And then,
or shops
then I would
or
find all
anything
the
about
sites. Oh yeah.
they know what was what happened there.
Well,
Like, they know it was filmed there.
Some people do.
Okay.
Like, okay, so the Bar Marhala, right, where
Aha.
they walk out,
Yes.
right, and better than the U.S. Marines, right? The shop owner knows, and in fact, when we were there,
I have his card.
he wanted us to post a photo on Instagram
Oh, that's funny.
that we had been to his shop, and he
That's
knew
funny.
exactly why we
So
were
he
there.
knew. He knew.
Now, here's my story from a moment ago. Jay was talking about how most of the indie costume just looks like a traveler costume, right? And, you know, sort of walking through, and we were lining all of this up, and our guide, I think, was actually really interested in this because he had lived in the city forever and had...
He was
He
really
had-
into it.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, there it is, and he was looking at the pictures, but you could walk around in the indie costume and really... Nobody except one guy. And he said something like Dr. Jones as he passed by. You know, some Tunisian guy.
Like, we
Dr.
passed
Jones.
That's
hundreds
funny.
upon, because it was busy.
Yeah.
Like there was just hundreds upon hundreds of people, and nobody, especially like, because like unless we were taking a photo, I generally didn't keep the hat on.
Right.
But
And he didn't wear a sidearm. He didn't wear the
Yeah.
pistol.
I was going to say,
So,
did you wear the whip?
I did have the whip.
took it.
Okay.
Put it
But
on
you didn't have-
selectively,
you-
right?
you
I
didn't-
put it on selectively. Yes.
Nice.
Okay.
I didn't want. I got spooked with that thing. I don't want to deal with that.
So I guess that was my thing. Like you said, so the one he knew that it was filmed there,
Yeah.
but there's no like stores,
No souvenirs.
There's no
stores or
souvenir
nothing
like
that
so.
now.
The only thing I can equate it to is like when I was in Georgia in Sonoy where they filmed the Walking Dead stuff. They totally embraced.
Yeah.
They know this is the Walking Dead town. So there was coffee shops, there was stores where you could buy all the merchandise. So they knew what they had. But there's nothing like that there.
No, and even with the Star Wars sites, I mean, the Hotel City dress, they're aware of the
They knew.
connection.
Yeah, there
and
was posters and
But
things.
you really don't find it anywhere else. But I think more so than anything we visited other than Star Wars Canyon, I don't think a lot of people make it to Karawan to see these scenes.
See, that's the
and
cool
it's
thing.
a shame because, and Jay can speak better to this than I can because he's the one that did the research on when you get in the Medina, you have to figure out, there are alleys all over the place and you've got to figure out where to look, right? You've got to figure out where to go. And all of a sudden you go down one alley and you're like, there's a shot, and there's a shot, right? When he's chasing Marion in the basket.
But that is the unique thing about like going where this is
whole area right
is that you
here.
can still find these things.
Absolutely.
You would not be able to
That one
find that if
alleyway?
it was filmed here.
Like,
Yeah.
It'd be
some
gone.
shots.
It'd be gone.
You can match it up so nicely
Right.
in photographs.
Well, and the interesting thing is, I mean, that scene, that whole collective scene was what, 8 minutes, 9 minutes in the movie?
Something like that.
Yeah,
Right?
very,
And
very
it's
small
like,
role.
that's crazy to see how much of the shots that you got. Now, and I'll be honest, if we were to ever do this, I don't think I could. You did a lot of research. Like, this is
I
serious.
did do a lot of research on that one.
Yeah, and I don't.
Because again, this is not anything that most people bother to seek out.
Right. It's a lot. That was a lot more difficult to find, and he did a great job doing it.
Well, and the thing is, and I think it paid off because in your photos, I mean,
They're perfect.
nothing has really changed.
Nope.
And
Same windows.
people haven't like gone through and
Same
ravaged
doors.
it. Yeah.
There are a couple of shots that are a little bit harder to match up when the truck blows up and Indy walks toward it. That square, if you know exactly where to look, you can see it. But some things have changed a little bit, and there's some trees growing. Now, I do know that before we were there, like maybe 15 years prior, that square hadn't been renovated, remodeled. There were still pieces that were sort of sitting there, like big No, yeah. We didn't see anything when
Good
we were
night.
there.
Ma-
But,
nobody cleans up in Tunisia.
They
That's
just left.
that's
They
the public
just
service
left that
announcement.
stuff out there for
It's just
20
like,
years.
screw it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, that was a couple of shots were actually outside of the Medina, but most of them were inside of the Medina. That again, that ancient walled part of the city where the markets are, that was a lot of fun because we were really discovering it, right?
Yeah.
When we went, when I had gone in 2014, we had planned on going there, we didn't have a freaking plan, so we probably wouldn't have found anything. We didn't have any of the maps that he had put together. But we were sort of scared off by the size of the city. That was the one thing with us driving.
I would not have wanted to drive
that we
in
ended
that
up
city.
just deciding not to
too
do.
much.
Yeah, just the sheer number of people that are walking around.
And like you said, when you have the guide, it's so much easier.
Yeah, they got us. Here's the cool thing. So the guide, they drove us up. We actually stopped off on the road because somebody was making bread.
It was
And he
awesome.
was like, "Oh, you got to try this."
Like, it's
So
See, and that's what's
like
awesome about
another-
having the guide. He knows those things. I would never stop and eat some random bread.
but it was
It was
fantastic.
awesome.
But
yeah.
but at least you know he's not going to poison you for the most part.
Well, you'd hope.
They were
It's the
actually
end of the trip,
very,
so
like,
it's always possible.
It was a very friendly.
Yeah.
That's what Jonathan was saying
They
last time.
really,
Like,
really were.
you hear all these stories, but he
yeah.
said everyone was
And
super friendly.
it's a bit off-putting. Like the first time you go, or
Yeah.
like the first day, like I was very kind of nervous because everybody, not to be too stereotypical, but like everybody looks like an extra from a Bond villain in a Bond movie. Because like all the guys are like dark guys and they're wearing dark jeans and dark shirts.
Yeah.
And at the same
they're all
time, you
smoking
stick out.
and drinking coffee, looking super serious
and cool.
and the language
I'll
is
never
a
be as
very
cool as a Tunisian
consonant
guy.
heavy,
very aggressive.
language,
Yes.
but they're not an aggressive people.
Right,
They're
right.
actually really, really nice, and
And
everybody
warm.
was very friendly,
No,
very
it's
accommodating.
sounded
Well,
like
and I was going to ask you, when you were in the heart of the city, did they speak English, or were you just kind of fumbling around?
Well, we had the guides at that point, so I mean we
Okay.
were always fine. But I would say that there were always people that spoke English.
So you had a
And
guide-
oftentimes
enough where
they
you
would,
can get
they
to-
would
yeah.
come up and they would actually try and
We
practice
were,
it, right? They
I mean,
wanted
to
talk
be
with
honest,
you.
we were guiding the guides for this.
Yes, that's
They
true.
got us to the Medina. We're like, we want to go to the Medina at Caroline.
Right.
Okay, so they went there, they dropped us off, they found a parking spot, and we were the ones kind of guiding
Yeah.
them. And you actually gave them your book, I think.
I did, yeah. We had books made. You can here, I'll show. So prior to going, and anyone that does a trip like this, you're going to see some Star Wars screen caps here, right? Because these are all the sites. You want to have something like, you don't want to rely on a screen because the sun is bright most of the time.
Gotcha. So it's easier to have.
So
the
you
actual
want to
picture.
have the book so that you can match everything up properly when you're looking for the reference points. And here's the map of the Medina with all the different spots, and then here are the
cool.
movie shots. And so the book, the guide looked at this, and he does Star Wars tours. He doesn't have anything like this. And I think I had done the first part of it because I took it in 2014, and then all the Raiders stuff you had done, and we sort of combined it into one book for our trip. And I left mine behind with them.
Did you really?
Yeah. I
There's
mean,
a little
it
thank you
was,
type of. Here's some cool spots.
and it was so that they could use it for
Yeah.
for future people to be on those trips. I like to think that he's probably still using it.
I'm sure he is.
The cool thing was, as we came into the town, the very beginning of that sequence when Indy and Marion walk into the market, and he has that joke about, here, have this, it's a date, right?
You eat 'em.
You eat 'em.
Yeah.
That's where you park. And when you walk in, that is where you walk in. So we're starting the journey right as they started it in the film.
And that was an accident. Like, we
There are
had not
a couple
intended.
of places.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that was an accident. I had actually thought we were, because you're looking on Google Map. I'm like, oh, we go in the main entrance, which was down south. It was down south of where the
Where the
bar
parking lot
was
down
where the
there.
car was, yeah.
Yeah.
But we actually went on the top, and we walked in. We're like, holy hell,
We're
this is
here.
exactly where they came in.
Yeah. You didn't even
That's
even
cool.
need the book. You
No,
looked at it, and
was
you knew that
very
you were there.
identifiable. There was some kind
Yeah.
of like parapets on the top of the roofs that were very distinct.
Now, did you see the guy with the giant sword?
We did not see any giant swords.
No
we
giant
did find the area where that took place in,
Yeah.
but no giant swords.
It's the
So-
Square of the Seven Mosques or something like that. I forget exactly what it's called. But anyway.
Well,
We saw a camel on a second floor, which was weird.
We did.
On the building.
It was a well.
A well.
Yeah, so, and this was sort of, and we wouldn't have known this without our guide. So again, the idea of going with a guide, and I'll say it, Mosaic North Africa was who we used, and they were fantastic.
Yeah, they were
Oh,
awesome.
actually, before you go into that more, so watch the other shows from the last season because we went into in quite a bit of detail
Yeah.
the travel part of it.
itinerary,
So
yeah.
if you're interested, they were the ones to go to.
If you want to do it, and it's the guide is a little bit more expensive, but it is well worth it, and it's not as expensive probably as I think most people would think it is to do a trip like this. So yeah, because he had lived in Carawan, he's like, here, I could take you to something around the corner, and
It was literally right behind the carpet shop, which was the bar.
yeah,
It was right in the alley, right behind it.
yeah, And
And
so
then-
he led us up these steep stairs
Yeah, like
into a building.
steep stairs into a
Right.
building on the second floor where there's a well and a freaking camel.
attached to it, and the camel's job was to walk in circles and bring the water up, and then I guess to walk backwards.
I
don't
guess,
know.
I don't know. I don't know what the
Yeah.
point was, to be honest. There was a
Nice.
story behind it.
Yeah.
There was some sort of a kind of a historical significance. I don't recall.
Yeah.
But like just the fact that every day they walk this camel up the
That's
stairs,
insane.
and then they walk. I'm like, because I'm asking, I'm like, where does the camel go to the bathroom? Like, where does it sleep? They're like, oh, we take him out. Every
Oh,
day we
sure
take him
you
out.
do.
I'm like,
Take 'em
up
out.
and down these stairs? That's
I
better
didn't
than
like
any
going up and
circus
down
I've ever
those
seen.
stairs.
Yeah, I know, right?
So,
All right, so cameraman's shaking his head. So we're gonna obviously have two parts to this.
Yeah, so,
So-
the second part, we're going to talk about Death Valley.
That, and we're gonna finish looking through the goodies and artifacts.
Yes.
So let's break it now, so the fan, because our ADD fans can't handle more than 30 minutes.
That's true. It's
So
too
we're-
much. We've learned that with our
We have
minisodes.
minisodes. They like minisodes. So
So we're
let's
gonna-
just break. We're gonna come back for part 2.
All right.